Hi, I'm Jeff Mucklin, and this is Science at Home, brought to you by the Nurture Nature Center. And today, I want to talk to you about living in cities. Now, when you think about a habitat, the kinds of places where we find plants and animals, you probably don't think very much about cities. But cities are a kind of habitat. Here I've put a magnifying lens over the northeast of the United States, and you can see that this is a region that has quite a lot of this urban habitat. Now, urban environments are built to meet the needs of people who live and work in them, but some animals have adapted to survive in urban environments. In fact, some animals actually thrive in them. In this video, we'll look at a few of the animals that have become our urban neighbors. A partial list of mammals and birds that live within the city limits of just the city of Easton would include, but is not limited to, white-tailed deer, mice, rats, squirrels, possums, groundhogs, chipmunks, rabbits, raccoons, skunks, fox, crows, robins, blue jays, woodpeckers, bluebirds, cardinals, turkey, Canada goose, great blue heron, mallard, bald eagles, peregrine falcons, red-tailed hawks, and turkey vultures. Let's just look at a few of these examples to see what it takes to survive in the city. Animals have the same basic needs that we do. They must have shelter and water and food. Finding shelter in an urban environment for a large animal like a deer can be very challenging. And finding shelter for a smaller animal like a bird or a rodent can be very easy. For deer, your shelter has to be a lot like what you would find in a rural or wilderness environment. Small patches of forest are a good place to hide and find cover during the day and are ideal for urban deer. In Easton, deer can be found along the forested banks of the Bushkill, Lehigh, and Delaware rivers, and undeveloped areas like on forested hillsides. Deer living in these places have access to water via the nearest river, and they have access to a wide variety of food sources. Deer will eat grass, so your lawn is fair game. In the forested patches of the city, they can feed on leaves, twigs, shoots of woody plants, vines, weeds, and flowering plants. They can also eat many of the foods that people grow on things like fruit trees and in their gardens. Although deer can survive quite well in urban places, they do so by finding the small patches of the city that resemble natural environment. There are some animals that have adapted so well to the human environment that they are true city dwellers. Rodents like rats and mice, for example, are able to take up residence inside human homes and businesses. They proliferate in disused spaces like abandoned buildings and underground passageways. The house mouse is remarkably well adapted to living inside homes. They can go weeks without water and survive off of the water that condenses on cold pipes. They need food more frequently, but they are not picky eaters. In a natural environment, they prefer seeds, nuts, insects, berries, and fruit. In an urban environment, they can eat virtually anything we eat. But you don't want them living free in your home. They can transmit diseases, though this is actually very rare, but they often bring pests like fleas and lice into your home and can damage wiring and furniture by chewing it. Consider getting a no-kill trap like this one to capture and remove any mice that you think are taking up residence inside your home. There are many bird species that do quite well in urban environments. Many people actually welcome birds into their yards by providing bird houses and water baths and bird feeders. Yards are an excellent place to find grubs and worms as well. Now, some people are annoyed to find lots of birds pecking at their well-manicured lawn, but they're actually eating insects that you might find even more annoying, and they're aerating the soil when they stab into it with their beaks, which is good for the soil and your lawn. Raptors, like hawks, are apex predators, and they eat other birds and small mammals along with reptiles, fish, and amphibians. One raptor that has done surprisingly well in big cities is the peregrine falcon. In natural habitats, they prefer mountain ranges, river valleys, and coastlines. They feed almost exclusively on small to medium-sized birds. They have a remarkable hunting technique that involves diving down on prey and making mid-air catches. As they dive, they can reach speeds over 200 miles per hour, making it the fastest animal on Earth. They nest on the ledges of tall buildings, and they prey on large populations of other city-dwelling birds, including another urban-adapted bird, the rock pigeon. We have peregrine falcons here in Easton, and the one seen in these video clips and photos likes to perch on this high-rise building downtown. Check our Facebook page for updates on this city-dwelling bird. Bats are another species that has adapted to living not just in cities, but inside our structures. Of the 47 species of bats found in the United States, 35 are known to use human structures. Some bats are active during the day and eat fruit. These megabats are also known as flying foxes. There are no megabats in the Americas, but we do have nocturnal microbats. These bats eat lots of insects at night, which they catch using echolocation. Basically, they emit a very high-frequency clicking sound that is beyond the range of human hearing, but that they can hear just fine. This is an ultrasonic bat detector. It allows me to hear the clicking of bats as they echolocate. And since the sun is about to go down, I should start hearing some bats in just a few minutes. The clicking sound that you hear now is the bats echolocating. You'll notice that the clicks happen a little bit more slowly, but then they speed up right before they catch an insect. The sound they emit bounces off of walls and other obstacles, allowing them to fly safely even in completely dark environments. They can also find prey using echolocation. Some bats can catch and eat up to 600 mosquitoes an hour. They find and eat a lot of insects, which is one reason why I think they're misunderstood. A large, healthy bat population in urban areas can reduce the population of insect species, including mosquitoes, which are slow and very easy to catch for bats. And by the way, there are no blood-feeding or vampire bats in North America. Bats sleep or roost during the day. They're nocturnal animals. They're active at night. So during the daytime, they try to find somewhere secure, a nice dark place where they can be safe from predators. They'll hide in trees, under the bark of trees in some cases if the bark is peeling, any kind of small hole they can find, and they do hide in caves like this one. There's at least one bat inside this cave. Because they like warm environments, your attic is one of the places where you are most likely to see one. Bats are certainly found in cities, but it is not their preferred environment. Bats are more abundant in wild spaces, but with urban development and an ever-expanding human population, it is inevitable that some bats are going to be displaced by human activity and find themselves in our spaces. Again, this is not necessarily a bad thing for us because they eat many insect species that would be more of a nuisance without the nightly feasting of bats. For this week's at-home activity, we're going to be installing a bat house. Now, I purchased this bat house, and we will include a link showing you where you can buy a bat house just like this one. We'll also share a link sharing instructions for how to build your own bat house. So if you're handy with woodworking tools or you know someone who is, that's another option for you. A good bat house is going to have a small gap in it that the bats can get in and out from. It's got to be nice and small so the bats feel cozy and safe inside the bat house. As far as where you put your bat house, well, remember, bats really like really warm, really hot environments. So anywhere where this is going to be exposed to a lot of heat, maybe somewhere facing south so the sun can shine on it, is a good place to put it. Now, I'm standing here in a parking lot behind the Nurture Nature Center. It gets pretty hot back here, and that wall back there, that faces south. So I think somewhere back on that wall would be a great place to hang this bat house. We light up our cities at night to make the urban environment better suit our needs. But all this artificial light disrupts the behavior of wildlife, and it's very bad for nocturnal animals, including bats. By having more compact cities, we can reduce urban sprawl and leave more wild space for wildlife. For the animals that do live in our cities, a good approach is to learn ways that we can live with these displaced creatures as they learn to adapt. The best thing we can do in most cases is leave them alone. If you see an animal anywhere, be it on a hike or in your own neighborhood, you should treat it with caution and respect, and you should not approach or touch it. Thank you for watching this week's video, and I hope to see you next time.